Hey guys, and I hope you are all okay on that side of the screen. Now today we are going to take a look at a tablet with laptop performance. Now let's check it out if it's interesting or not, and if yes, in which case scenarios. And this video is sponsored by NordVPN, a VPN service available for almost any platform with servers in 56 countries at an affordable price. Check out the link below for more details. And we are back, and before I start talking about the TECLAST X5 ULTRAPAD, which I did not mention in the intro, I will post it, or I will place it to be more accurate, right over here, because it is quite heavy, as we will talk in just a few moments. Now, starting with the unboxing experience, guys, there's nothing special that I can mention about it. It comes in a very simplistic package, and it brings the usual accessories, as you guys will see on some images. Now, moving around to the build quality, what I can say is that this TECLAST X5 is a solid tablet, and besides being solid, it is quite heavy for a tablet. Of course, it has a combination of metal and plastics that feel really good, a respectable 12.2-inch IPS display with a resolution of 1920 by 1200 with some really nice colors and contrast, and in terms of viewing angles, they are not bad at all, as you guys will see on some images that I did record, with more light and with less light, of course, so that we can compare. But the overall, you will find that colors and contrast are very nice, but we will have some reflections as this is a glossy panel. Now, I also recorded some different levels of screen brightness so that you guys can compare as well, and this is really important, especially for those of you that will work with the tablet on the outside or in an environment like the one that I've got right over here, which has a lot of lighting. Now, moving to the ports and connectivity, we will find some interesting things right over here and some things that I wish it had, but it doesn't. Now, if we look at the left side of the tablet, we will find a 3.5mm headphone jack, a micro USB, which will carry data only, nothing else, just data, and then we will have a volume rocker. Now, on the right side, we will find a power input jack, a micro HDMI output, and then a full-size USB 3.0, and lastly a USB Type-C, which will carry data and power, but will not carry video. On the top we will have a power button, and then we will find also the front-facing camera, which will have 2 megapixels, and the back camera with 5 megapixels. And of course, in terms of the image quality, guys, what I can say is that will be good enough for a Skype call, but other than that, I wouldn't use it. The quality, as you guys can see, it's not that good enough for Skype, and that's about it. Now, one of the things that I would like to mention, which I believe that it's important, are the speakers, and the location is great. As you guys can see, it's built in the screen left and right side, which looks really awesome, and especially because we almost don't see them. But regarding audio, I was a bit disappointed. The volume is low and the bass is low as well, as expected. So I would use this tablet at home with some kind of speakers, even from the TV or something similar. And for outside, it would be okay, unless we want to hear music, and in that particular case, either headphones or some Bluetooth speakers. Now, to wrap up the exterior, as you guys can see, it has a stand which we can use in 2 positions, depending, of course, on the way that we will use it, more on tablet mode or more on desktop kind of scenario. Moving to the Windows 10 license, it is a home fully activated license, but it comes with the user created, which is called admin, and this is not the first time that I see this on a system, so my suggestion is always to do a reset or to create another user and delete the user that was pre-created. Now, in terms of specifications, it comes with the 7th generation Kaby Lake CPU, the Intel Core M3 7Y30 at 1 GHz and will go up to 2.6 GHz if I'm not mistaken, 8 GB of DDR3 RAM and 256 of flash storage, of which 204 are available to install apps. Now, moving to the performance of this device, as I said on the intro, it has laptop level performance, and basically before we move on to some benchmarks, I would like to compare with one machine that is completely different from this one but has similar hardware, and I'm talking about the MacBook early 2016, which in this particular case it's my wife's computer, and as you guys can see, the TECLAST X5 has similar components in terms of CPU power. Now, regarding the external display, I've already mentioned almost everything when I talked about it with the connections, but just to mention that it supports up to 4K, which I don't recall if I did mention or not, 3840 by 2160 at 30 Hz, which is the maximum resolution of the display, but the display can go up to 60 Hz while the computer can go only up to 30 Hz. Now, moving to some benchmarks so that we can compare with other machines, as we did with the MacBook early 2016 12-inch Retina display. On Geekbench we will have a respectable score for the kind of machine that it is. Now, moving to Cinebench, we will have low scores, especially when we compare to the more powerful machines that we use for video editing and gaming and so on and so forth. I also tested with 3D Mark Score, and here I did 3 tests: Ice Storm Extreme, which has a really nice score, especially when we compare with lower devices. Now, on CloudGate gets a bit more boring, and on Skydiver even more boring. So we can see that it's not a machine intended for intensive graphic tasks like gaming, but we will talk about that in just a moment. Now, moving on to disk speed test, we will have also some really nice results, and we are talking about 125 megabytes per second on writes and up to 470 megabytes per second on reads. Now, all these benchmarks will help us to decide which device should we get, but in terms of real-world performance, I will resume like this. For office tasks, this will be more than enough. Actually, if we just want to use Word, Excel and PowerPoint, this will be actually too much, because we have seen lower end tablets and mini PCs with lower specs doing a great job in terms of office tasks. Now, moving to Photoshop, which is something that from time to time I do test out on a machine, and here, as expected, because I've played around with Photoshop and also Adobe Premiere on the MacBook early 2016, so it has the same performance that this one has. And my feedback here is simple: for simple tasks, and if we use the tablet display, then we will be just fine, no issues at all, and we can even have some quite decent projects. But once that we move to a 4K display, which was the test that I made, then with heavier projects, and I'm talking about a middle range project right over here. This is a Christmas template that we just want to change the colors, change the text and so on and so forth. But what I feel when going to the 4K display is that I do have some lag. So here is a compromise that if I want to work on the integrated display, I will be okay. If I want to work on a 4K display, I will notice some lag. And if you guys ask me, hey Robert, I want this tablet and I will only do this twice a year, now on a birthday for my wife or on Christmas to send to my friends, then I would say go for it. It's totally worth it. If you are going to use twice a year or 3 or 4 times, it is more than okay. You will have the patience, even with a little bit of lag here and there, it will be okay. But if you are going to plan to do this on a daily basis, then stay away from this kind of performance. You will have to step up, you will have to spend more, but to have a more pleasant experience, because this will be a frustrating experience if we do it on a daily basis. And moving to Adobe Premiere, which is something that I only test out on devices such as this and higher. And personally, guys, this is the bottom line in terms of performance for video editing. And I'm talking about a video editing not professionally but as a hobby. Now what I can say is that even when using the 4K display, I had a great experience on editing, and as you can see there, I don't have any kind of lag. I can browse the video, everything, no issues at all. I'm talking about a 1080 movie timeline, 10 minutes without any effects at all. So this is the kind of video that I would take out of any of my cameras, put on there, and then just cut here, cut there, join some family movies, and then at the end render. And for that, it is more than okay. Now in terms of rendering, I would like to let you guys know that for a timeline of 10 minutes, it will take roughly 15 minutes to render without any effects at all. So if we start to applying effects and filters and so on and so forth, we will multiply this time, and the 15 minutes will turn into half an hour, 1 hour, and so on and so forth. So no miracles here, but for those that want a machine capable of some basic video editing, this one will be okay. And of course, this is not the only software that we have available. There are other lighter softwares that will give us some better results, but Adobe Premiere almost everyone knows, and this is one of the softwares that I use on some projects that I have. So here's my feedback: you can do it, but simple projects. And finally, in terms of gaming, guys, this is basically a machine that with no GPU and no chances of connecting an external GPU, because it hasn't Thunderbolt 3, it only has USB Type-C connection, so we will be limited to mobile platform gaming such as those that you are watching on screen. I did test a few, great experience, but that will be it. Don't expect AAA games on this, except if you use GameStream like we have done here on the past on several machines. But this is it in terms of games, don't expect more than that. And finally, in terms of battery, we can expect roughly 4.5 hours if we are using it just for browsing or to watch some movies and so on and so forth. But if we are using it more intensively, like gaming or even Adobe Photoshop or Premiere, then we can reduce that to a half. So we are talking about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then the battery will be depleted. So in one hand, we have some great performance here. On the other hand, it will be depleted really fast. So in conclusion, guys, what I can say is that if we look at it as a tablet, there are a lot of other options on the market which are a lot cheaper and probably will suffice for most of the tasks that we do on a tablet. But for those of you that are looking for something between an hybrid of tablets with a laptop performance, then as I said before, this makes total sense, and only makes, in my opinion, sense if we take advantage of the power that it has. Because if you want to use it just to watch YouTube, then you're better off with any other tablet like the one that I've got right over here, which is the Mi Pad 2 or the Mi Pad 3 at this moment, which is just helping me to record this particular video, and would not make sense to pay that much for this tablet in this particular example. And that is it. I've talked enough, guys. Some questions that you still have, drop them down below. Hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did so, don't forget that usual thumbs up. My name is Roberto George, and I'll see you guys on the next one.